in February, and that was probably when many of you heard about Hali. Today, I'm going to talk about something on high level and then slow down, sharing my personal thoughts about the previous future and analyzing current industry trends and its challenges, what we should focus on next, and what ties us down in that regard. Talk about Crypto's future, we have to talk about the future of the world. And with the AI breakthrough, it's really hard to dispute that our future will not be an AI-driven one. But while these all advancements in AI bring exciting news, they also create concerns in our society, not just in Web3, but commonly discussed. For example, the role of human labor. So while AI soon not producing so much, human labor becomes less relevant in the production process. And yet, human labor has been used as a metric to distribute societal wealth to the majority of the people in society for centuries, ever since industrialization. If labor becomes irrelevant, what will be the metric the society will use to distribute our societal wealth? Also, AI will probably create an unprecedented amount of wealth. How can this large amount of wealth be distributed in an equitable and accessible way, ensure human well-being? These are questions that concerns every one of us, and these are questions our generation needs to figure out very soon. And that's where I say blockchain comes in. For me, the intersection of the two technologies, AI and blockchain, goes beyond the typical topics about centralized computing or decentralized data. These are also important questions that we want to solve as well. But for me, the ultimate utility of blockchain is societal distribution and redistribution system. The unprecedented amount of AI production and value created will rely on scalable, accessible, and auditable way of distribution by blockchain. On the other hand, let's analyze what are the current trends of crypto. We have seen flourishing DeFi. We have seen so many innovations in DeFi infrastructure and designs. But the mechanism that is used to be exclusive to people with capital, people with money, or institutions. And people are tired of being left behind, of entering the bottom capture mechanism of the world in the last batch. They want to participate early, and they want to participate on fair terms. So that's what the flourishing DeFi really demonstrates, the public eagerness of participating in the world's value capture process. Does this sound like a familiar feat to the problem that AI proposed? No. The fact that the DeFi distribute value with beyond labor, the reliance on labor as a factor. And that is why I think blockchain is the scalable solution to deal with the problems AI created. However, there is a big problem currently in crypto. There is no value, no real value to be captured for most of the DeFi mechanisms. There are some, but for most of them, there is no net value increase. There is no active value creation. These policies are mostly for value extractions. And value extraction means reallocating the same set of wealth in this set of hands to another set of hands in a closed system. From white paper to NFTs, from mini games that covers almost all locations and scalable enough to have already KYC and verified identity of 15 million users out of our overall engaged 16 million. So Hali blockchain on its mainnet is only having KYC people. And this makes it ready for any Web3 or financial related services to integrate on top of Hali. But I want to today focus more on the second half, creating new production on chain. The reason is because existing production moving on chain have a lot of challenges, including high dependency on external environment, regulation change, incumbents in traditional economy adopting Web3 technology. Not to mention that the existing production, if they already existed, the market capture mechanism already occurred off-chain, not through a design. So that's why I want to encourage and focus on the new productions directly on-chain. And for that, Hali has done a number of things. I will keep first, Hali community has created a large social network of over 60 million engaged users. These are not the downloads or registrations, they are engaged users. If we're looking at downloads, it's a few hundred million now from both of our articles. Why did we create such a social network? It serves multiple purposes for new production creation and real quality. If you're a real product person, you understand the need of users. You need to have real users to test and give you feedback when you're making a product. You need a user integration to tell you whether your product actually serves the problem of the need. And that is the environment we try to create for Hali, so that we create environments suitable to give rise to potential new products that is independent of all the hypes. Also, we also have actually embraced the AI with the revolution. The reason for that is we know AI is going to change the world, and we know that the apps we're using today will be very different. A new batch of apps will replace the current one because of AI. They are either AI generated or AI powered. Since we know that there will be a new batch of AI applications created, why don't we make them created on chain? In my view, there is a very short historical window in which currently the AI infrastructure breakthrough makes it possible to have AI applications. At the same time, the AI application layer is still in infancy. That gives us opportunity to get those AI applications directly created on chain. If we miss this window, the AI industry and the world will move on creating their own applications on chain. We have to do the same convincing job in the first pass, convincing them to move on chain. And creating a large social network is a resource collectively created by private community. And this is a resource that the world demands because every product, whether it's AI or non-AI, Web2 or Web3, they all want user attention and users. So we want to invite AI applications built on top of Hali, so that this layer of AI application actually from day one start on chain. And that also allows the DeFi follow up from that, all this DeFi infrastructure actually be able to come to the public with those new productions. The second thing I did for AI initiative is we recently released an App Studio. The App Studio is actually a platform Hali released to enable non-technical people to be able to create apps, not just create release the money, raise a amount of tokens, which raise a lot of money, versus do the hard work, do the development of a very complex product, may or may not actually be able to fundraise and get your product in the market and also succeed. What would you choose? You would choose the faster turnaround. You would choose to opt into the easy way. But value creation is always harder than value extraction. Value creation relies on product innovation. That takes time, that takes effort, that takes perseverance. And in our industry, if the culture is always facilitating, incentivizing short-term return, little effort, then who is left to do the hard work? And that's why I'm saying the superpowers of DeFi, of crypto, are currently misaligned, not facilitating utility creation. And this also has other aspects of the workflow as well, including first of resource, having a lot of resource early on actually was not also keen to optimize resources for success, or talent misdirection, directing a lot of talent of the industry to solve problems like how to trade faster and smarter. So here, we need to not only make DeFi accessible, but also make sure that the powerful tools of DeFi are aligned to create utility. Because utility and real product innovation is the sustainability of crypto. Because cycles will run out, narratives will run out. It's the ultimate way whether this industry generates any net value or not. And I think the Web3 technology will really have disruption when crypto superpowers is aligned in the right direction for utility creation. But today, actually, at Hali, we're releasing actually a lot of DeFi tools to millions of users on testnet, including DEX, ByDEX, AMM, and liquidity tools. And this type of DeFi tools is on the testnet for developers to test, and also for millions of users to actually educate themselves about DeFi, and improving the overall literacy, financial literacy, or general knowledge, so that they can better understand those tools to be able to use it. And so we're here, we're building, and we urge the industry peers also to join forces to think about utility, to incentivize utility building, so that we can make our industry great. Thank you.